What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Rip City Rundown podcast. We told you we were coming back with another pod post the Drew Holiday Anthony Simons trade, but this time we're going to start off with a little focus on the draft because, again, prior to this recent trade that just went down, this was the night of the offseason for the Portland Trailblazers, and it still could be because moves could be made, players could be drafted, and things of that sort. Matisse Thybulle picked up his option. He will be back. Reports about Drew Holiday not wanting to be in Portland have surfaced. Not sure if those are true or not. We'll get into it. And then more guys that we think could be moved in the future. West, Cody, whoever wants to answer, have your opinions on the Drew Holiday trade changed at all? Or should you just tell the viewers to go watch last night if they haven't heard your thoughts?
I'll start this pod. Great question. Because I feel like now that we've slept on it, we've read the context and everything, I do want to hear y'all's thoughts on it if your opinion has not necessarily changed, because I feel like initial gut is usually like there's truth in that, but I just had this thought, like, what if we actually are going to flip Drew and Joe Cronin just put out the notion that we were going to keep him to potentially just give us more leverage. And also, like, if we're trading for Drew twice and both times we're like, oh, we're going to immediately flip him. Like, I just, maybe there's a narrative there that we're trying to push. I do think, again, I think the whole conversation was contract and age versus, like, runway for your younger players and, like, veteran presence and like a player who can help you win now. Like, he's going to raise the win total over under for the Blazers. It's still not going to be like super high. I guess where I'm at is I like the move for talent, but in terms of timeline, I feel like this is kind of the first trade to where we're like, if we're going to keep him, it's the first trade that we're like signaling the fact that we want to be good. I just don't know if we're at that point yet.
I agree with that. Cody, anything different from last night?
My opinion, to be honest, hasn't changed much. I feel like I'm more actually set in stone with my opinion. And for a reminder, if you didn't see last video, I'm not a fan of the trade. But then again, if we do flip him for capital or a young player, I'd be happy with that. Talking to just the whole family dinner for the trade. No one was really happy about it either, so maybe that strengthened my opinion. But to be honest, we just gotta wait and see. Wes, you said how Portland wants to make it sound like he's going to be on the court this fall, but GM's gotta do what they gotta do. They gotta lie. They have to give our organization leverage because you don't want to show your cards as a GM, or else you're gonna be get the least value out of your assets. So it's about all I have to say about Drew. Lots of other stuff to talk about, though.
Can I add one thing about? I share this with you, and again, this is not to like crap on Ant or anything, but Cody, I don't know if you saw what I sent you, both of you guys, but just to put who Simons is as a player in context. So this is off a person I follow who accumulated all this information. But he said, the good about Simons is he's a microwave from deep, true 20-point-a-game player, and a bomber who fits well into the Celtics' three-point shooting scheme. He averages 9 threes a game, and he's made 38% of them. Bad news is his three-point shooting has declined in 4 of the last 5 years. His 36% from deep last year was the worst percentage in his career. But when he gets red hot, he's unstoppable. He has the NBA record for 9 consecutive made threes in a row, and 13 overall in a row, like over the course of a couple games, I think. So he can get hot. But the bad about Simons is he is a terrible defensive player, but in ways that are hard to define. His defensive rating was 119 last year, which is terrible, but he gets cooked in the mid-range. Players he guarded shot 50% against him and 58% on Simons in the mid-range, which is tough because as a guard, he's one of the worst shooters in the league from the mid-range, shooting 36%. And he averages 1 steal every 2 games and 1 block every 10 games, while Drew averages 3.2 steals and blocks per game.
Not to compare him, but the mid-range I'm shocked about. Now that I think about it, watching Blazer games, he's not the best mid-ranger, but that's way worse than I thought.
Basketball Reference has his win share comps. So, like, I guess player comps in terms of the output or the value that he's adding to like, I guess it's like WAR in baseball, wins above replacement. His best comp is Shake Milton.
Mm-hmm.
So all that to say, I think Ant's great. I think he's going to help Boston, and I think like Boston gets out of the Drew business. They save their money. They get to take a quote unquote flyer on an expiring on a younger guy. But you brought it up, Cody. Like, if Simons wasn't a Blazer, what would we think of him? And I think that's a very fair question. And I think like in terms of talent, we won the trade by far. It's not. I guess it's not about winning, but we got the better player, which is why like the trade-off there is we get older and have to pay more. But Joe likes to get players. Like, we haven't really gotten a huge draft pick haul
That's
before.
true.
He likes
And
players.
again, I think at least you can appreciate the fact that we are diving into an identity. And
Defense, man.
it's a more reliable identity than having a bunch of shot creators. But again, if you want to hear our full thoughts on the Drew Holiday trade, I feel like we kind of, even though it was initial reaction, I stand by a lot of those takes from last night's podcast. So go check that out if you haven't.
Last thing, just because I don't think I got mentioned last night. Cody, I think it was since January something, the Blazers were 23-18 and third in defensive rating in the league.
I saw that in the comment section because I didn't have that pulled up initially. That is crazy. Our defense, we should be good next season, especially if Drew plays. And I think this is a good transition into Matisse Thybulle, who his best attribute, I would say, is most definitely perimeter defender. I think, I forgot the guy on our television that does all the stats for our team.
Haberstrom.
He's always talking about those Matisse 3-point deflection blocks or stuff, something like that. Yeah. So to have him back, what do you guys think about that?
It's not really doing anything crazy for me, but like if he walked, it would have been like, oh, that stinks. Matisse is gone. But having him back, like I feel like he was very fun to watch that first year we got him, when it was after the trade deadline. Dame was still on the team, and he came in and he was shooting the ball a ton better than he did in Philly, and he was just racking up the steals and blocks. And then ever since then, the last 2 years, I feel like he's just been kind of one of the players that, similar to like a Jeremy Grant or even Simons, where it's like, oh, they've been fun to watch at the beginning of the year, but then like they are the people that just normally just get sat at the end of the year. Like, Matisse was hurt last year, but I definitely think he was held out a lot longer than he really needed to be. So hopefully with a team that has a little bit more expectation of trying to go win something, trying to go fight for some postseason basketball, I think Matisse is the type of player you want on the team, especially with the identity we're at. I mean, he comes in, shoots 37% from three. You know what he's doing defensively. Like, he's a great guy to have for 15 minutes off the bench. So I like it.
Quickly, I played 15 games last season. So small sample size, but these stats are looking good. 47 from the field, 43 from three. So he was hitting his shots. 2.2 steals a game. 2.2. So we'll see what we can do on the defensive end. I'm trying to find blocks. Can't find him, but yeah.
3-point deflection. I mean, I feel like he's just been that guy he's just been lost in the shuffle, and I think we forget who he really is as a player. But to your point, Cole, just a guy that he was gonna opt in because he's not getting that on the free agency market just because he's been out for so long, coming off injury. But like, he's another guy that we could use in a trade, I guess. I mean, he also he can play legit rotation minutes. Like, he's not. This isn't like one of our young flyer into the bench guy. Like, this is an NBA veteran at this point, and
I definitely think he's one of those guys where, say, you are either not performing as well as you hoped in the win-loss column, or you just realize Matisse, because you got Drew, Scoot, Shaden, and guys like that, you realize Matisse doesn't have a ton of minutes available. He is a guy that, like, similar to Drew, when you have veterans like this that have proven that they are good locker room guys and bring a specific skill, in his sense defense, like, he's absolutely somebody that I'm sure you could trade at the trade deadline and, maybe get a couple seconds or get a flyer player like we did with Cam Reddish in the Josh Hart trade, like a player like that where like he probably won't hit, but it's worth a shot. So all in all, Matisse coming back is good in my book. So,
and I think the thing that for the Blazers that's really interesting is, and this can get into draft talk, like we're very stout as a team. Like defensively, our weakness is probably shot creation and shooting, just basically offense. And I feel like we're one of the only teams in the league that needs offense, because I feel like a lot of teams are like, oh, like this guy could turn into like, you know, they don't have the lug. They have to think about defense. And I think we can literally, I mean, well, I say that, and then we trade Simons, who was
we got rid of our offense. Yeah.
Well, maybe a guy like we can draft a guy who maybe profiles higher, has a little bit more. Like Simons was bottom of the barrel defensively, I think, over the course of his career. But like we can just kind of simply, like I feel like we know very clearly what our needs are, and that's the benefit of building an identity. Is you get really and part of a strategy when building an identity is we're just going to get guys that make that our strength stronger. Mm-hmm. And like Thybulle adds that. And, you know, maybe Joe Cronin is just like he's just going to gather a bunch of defense guys and then hope that someone like Denny or Scoot or Shaden can be a 25-point per game scorer, which is not looking likely, but you never know.
Yeah. So just transitioning here, the main bulk of the episode we'll talk about is draft, but that's not just discussing just necessarily players that could be picked. That's also moves that could be made revolving around the draft and vets that could be moved on. So I think first and foremost, we'll talk about just 11th pick. That is the main focus tomorrow night. I would probably assume we're keeping it. I mean, but then again, the Simons thing came out of left field. So for all we know, Joe Cronin's working in the shadows and possibly deciding to move the 11th pick, move up, move down, so on and so forth. But specifically looking at the 11th pick, West, who are the kind of guys you would say Blazer fans watch for these guys? I feel like they're on the Blazer radar. Who'd you think?
I think Casper is the first one for me, just because I don't think it's malpractice to draft a guard in this draft. Like I think it's fair. Like look at what the Thunder drafted Topic. Like, do they need a lead guard with the ball in his hands? Like, obviously not. But like, I feel like we're at the point where you just take talent. So I think he's a big guard, ran a lot of pick and roll at Illinois. He kind of has some Luka-ish to his game where he can like hit step back threes. Kind of plays a similar pace with pick and roll. So interesting there. I mean,
it's interesting how you say we're just going to go after the talent, the most talented player, because if Drew plays, assuming he plays 30 minutes, that's 3 guards that are getting significant minutes in Shaden, Scoot, and Drew. And if you draft a guard, then you're going to have to give him more minutes. So I'd actually be surprised if we took a guard. I mean, I guess if a guard that is clearly talented than the others on the board are there, I guess you have to take that. But like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'd be kind of disappointed if we didn't draft a 6'6" guy or taller at least.
That's fair. And that's where I think if we go guard, we go big guard, and Yakihonis Kasparis falls into that. He's 6'6". I mean, if you go with the BYU guy, Demon, he's 6'8". And I do think, yes, all of our eggs are like, we continue to talk about opening the floor for the young guards, Sharp and Scoot. But you also want to open the floor for Tu and Denny, and you also want to open the floor for Klingon. So I think no matter who you pick, it's going to that's an exciting thing about the team, is like each position has a guy or two where you're like, okay, I think he could be a part of this team for the future. So I really think no matter what you do, unless you go like similar play style, small under 6'3" guard, that's the only thing I'd say like red flag. And honestly, if we got a center, I'd be a little confused too.
Except like, do we have a true 4? Because Klingon's 7 feet. We have our guards who are all under
Almost
6'4".
like the number one pick is that.
Yeah, that's
All right,
that's
well,
where Coop Flag would be beautiful.
Well, we're not getting him, unfortunately, because Nico gets him for some reason.
I think I would like a
funny.
4 though. I think that'd be my number
Like,
one.
Because I feel
Colin
like
Murray Boyles.
I don't know. I feel
See,
like
like, I don't know.
Denny and 2 are not a 4. They're just not. They're a 3 and a 2.
But
I
again,
hate
like
sliding one of them down to a 4. I really think I like Derek Queen, honestly, guys.
I don't hate it.
Doesn't need the ball in his hands, can play
But
make.
he's undersized as a 4. Like he's undersized as a 5, but not quick enough to be a 4. Like he's one of those tweeners, and I think that was the concern. But I mean, again, like the unfortunate part for the Blazers is we're picking 11, so this isn't a guy that you're necessarily investing your whole future in, and he has to start right away. I mean, think about it. We have
That's true.
We have the 5 young guys at each position. And then we have, like, right now, Jeremy, Ayton, and Robert Williams. That's 8. We don't have, like... Or I guess Drew. So that's our 9-man rotation. The back 6 guys, like, I'd rather have our draft picks sit on the bench and not play than, like... I read you that free agent list. Like, half those dudes I've never heard of.
I have a question. What would you feel like is the biggest attribute we need from a draft guy? Is it shooting? Is it defense? Is it... Like, what would you hope they have?
I think it's shooting. That's why the reason why I like Casper is like, I don't know, like you don't have if Scoot pans out, then Casper can be a guy you trade as a young exciting piece because like your new 3-guard rotation because Drew's hopefully not here for forever is like Casper, Scoot, and Shaden, and then if Scoot doesn't pan out, you have an option ready. Because I think we agree, like, if this team had an elite lead guard, we'd be really good.
I agree.
And so, like, why not? Like, Scoot gets the runway, but why can't we put someone behind Scoot?
That's fair. Not necessarily against it. Here's the problem with the, I would say 4 is probably the biggest position in need, and here's the problem with the guys that are kind of projected to be
buns.
They can't shoot.
The fact that the reason Carter Bryant out of Arizona is being mocked to the Blazers so much is because he's the only guy that has proven he can shoot. He shot 39%. But then you look at Colin Murray Boyles, Derek Queen, Asa Newell, even if you wanted to go back to the guard, Igor Demin, all under 30% from 3. Even Kasparis, he's proven he can hit shots, but he only shot 32% from 3 at
But I think
Illinois.
With Casper, I think the shot profile is a little more challenging.
I agree.
Acting to do that much at Illinois. I also think Asa Newell's interesting. He's like 7 feet, and he at least took them. So like he has the range.
In the NBA, it's like in this day and age, you can get away with one player on the floor not being able to shoot the 3, but I don't think you can get away with 2. This isn't the 2010s
and if
anymore.
Klingen's a long-term guy, then you need 1 through 4 to be able to shoot.
Yeah, so it's like I don't like say we got Queen for example. Can him and Klingen coexist on a championship caliber team if the other 3 starters are elite? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I've dove in deep into all these prospects in our range, but just literally just looking through just statistical profiles, one that like caught my eye and I wouldn't be surprised is the guy out of St. Joseph's, Rasheer Fleming, just because he shot 39% from 3 last year, 50% from the field, and he's 6'9", and that just feels like just right off rip, like those are boxes checked. So he's 17th on the big board, and it wouldn't surprise me for the Blazers because we have a Mike Schmitz and he is so deep into the draft. Like I would not be surprised if I don't think we're going to be a team that's like, Derek Queen was projected to go 8th, but he dropped to 11th. I guess we have to take him. We're not going to do that. We're not going to panic because of what other people have done. I think we have our guys, and I wouldn't be surprised if we overdrafted in the eyes of other people, even though in our eyes it could be the guy that's 7th on our board.
I will say Denny is 6'9".
I guess, but like he's just...
You're right. He's giving up weight, and I guess if you look at the Thunder, like Chet's playing the 4. That's like they have 2 7-footers in the lineup.
Denny more like Denny gives like
he's like I don't know.
I guess just play style. He gives like 2 vibes. I don't know why.
Chet's like a perfect 4 because like he's not the big bruiser like Hartenstein, but he can just shoot from the perimeter and play perimeter defense. Like that's the ideal 4 you need. Same with like Porzingis, but he's a 5. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
like is like I guess Mobley. If they like is like Mobley's more of a 4 than a
I mean,
5.
ideally, I feel like
Even though
the
he's
reason why
17.
Queen would be slightly interesting, it would just be if he could shoot and could move a little better. You want a guy that's big enough to play small ball center if needed, but can also stretch the floor and can move enough like a 4. That's why Mobley is such a good player to have, because he's quick enough and he's been able to shoot better recently, so he can play 4. But like as soon as you need him to play 5, he's big enough, strong enough to be able to play the 5. So
Gosh, Coop would be such an elite small ball 5.
I just
Coop's only 6'7".
yeah, Coop is more of a 3 than a 5, but I mean,
Dude, these dudes are like Khan is 6'5".
Do you guys
yeah,
think
I
we can
mean
get?
that's just the without shoes, which I feel like is irrelevant, because like with shoes, Coop's like 6'9" and Con's 6'6.5" or something. It just
Yeah, like Casper at 6'6".
Do you think we could sneak Ace Bailey? Could he somehow? No.
see, that was something I actually mentioned to Wes. I was like, if Ace Bailey fell, would you take him? It was more of a rhetorical question, because like obviously you take him because the value, like that's just insane value, but it would definitely scare me because Ace, I just don't love Ace a ton. He feels like a Jabari Smith prospect without the defense that Jabari Smith brings. College wise, it's just guys that didn't really have the best dribble moves, couldn't really create off the dribble other than pulling up and shooting over a guy.
It's like sloppy.
And also, I
Yeah.
feel like the guys that missed the tournament in college and are drafted high kind of haven't panned out well. And that's a reason probably to be a little skeptical of Harper too. But I don't know. Ace,
Harper's gonna get
like,
to play with.
if we were drafting 5 and Ace was on the board, I probably wouldn't even want him. I'd want to go somewhere else. I don't know how I feel about him.
Are there any other players that you're looking at 11? Because I wanna transition slightly.
I really don't think so. I just would be
Igor.
I don't know if I would want him. I think I would just warn Blazer fans that like I just don't think we're gonna draft the obvious pick. I don't know why. That's just the vibes I get. But then again,
my pivot thing is, what about like a Danny Wolf?
that'd be interesting.
In the sense where maybe you're reaching for him at 11, but are the Blazers interested in moving around and maybe trading back? And maybe this is where you're attaching one of your massive contracts or something.
I do want to say, going on to the contract thing, Brett Siegel said today, which is reliable insider, I'd say, that DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams have been dangled in the trade market, which I think is obvious. He even says in it, he said they've been available in trade talks dating back to before this past season's trade deadline. So we've been trying to move him. But
who? Sorry.
Ayton and Robert Williams. I could absolutely see us just trading Robert Williams in 11. I don't know if Robert Williams, since he doesn't make a ton of money, I don't know if he's a sunk cost. Like, I don't know if you have to attach something good to get off of him. You might have to do that with Ayton or Grant, but maybe it's like you trade Ayton and 11, trade back to 15, and also get something back along with 15. I'm just saying a random number. I don't know who's drafting 15, but
yeah.
Interesting. Just contracts are weird and
everyone's
making. Do you like? This is kind of a random question, but it kind of relates to what we're saying. Just who do you think is going to be the starting 5 straight up like next fall? Because like, is Jeremy going to be on the? Is he going to start? Like, I just don't know.
I think
does Klingon get the start?
I think
but we're not
Jeremy.
benching Ayton. I don't know.
I think it's more likely we trade Jeremy than Ayton.
So you think? Do you think one of them's gone by the end of the summer? Like, would you take that bet?
I would.
If you threw in Robert Williams, I'd take one of the 3. If you're just giving me Ayton and Grant, I'd be like,
because
I don't know.
If Drew's on the roster, I would say it's Drew, Scoot, or Drew, Shaden, Kamara, Denny, and Ayton, and then Scoot and Klingon are coming off the bench in like a big minutes role.
Okay.
I really think Scoot will start. I think it's Scoot, Drew,
Shaden. Okay.
Shaden's on the bench.
Drew, Denny, Tumani, Ayton. That'd be my guess.
It's just it's also just like Sharp is probably your best scorer at this point.
Yeah, I just don't know, man. Speaking
of these two, Sam Quinn, who's just an NBA national writer. He said yesterday, he said, if Scoot Henderson or Shaden Sharp break out and become stars, Portland is in great shape. If they don't, they aren't. And that's what it comes down to.
That's an absolute. What's his name again?
Sam Quinn.
Sam Quinn, just take of the year right there. Sam Quinn, attaboy.
Yeah, well,
But like,
I think if I had to guess, I think Portland's draft night will be fairly quiet. I think we made our think about these past couple off seasons for the Blazers. It's just been like we made the Denny trade, and that made the Denny trade. Did we draft anybody in the second round? I don't even know. We made the Denny trade, and that was it. The year before, we traded Damian Lillard. So I guess I'm just looking back to last year, but I just don't see us having the busiest offseason at this point. I think this is pretty busy for Portland in general.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Denny trade was right before the draft last year. Dames was after, because he gave us one more chance on draft night, and we said nah.
I'm just interested, like, how much is our new draft pick going to get the ball? I don't know. I just look at our team. I'm really
Why does
Simons? I know. But like Simons was so just involved in every play. Like
Simons didn't play at all his rookie year.
Not rookie year. I'm just saying like last year. Just our whole offense for the Portland Trailblazers, our ball movement always revolves around Simon getting a screen, and then Denny can.
Look, we're putting a lot of stock into
like,
what Denny did at the end of the year, and then what we think Sharp and Shaden could do. Sharp and Scoot.
I would say Denny and Sharp, I'd say, are our best offensive players.
I would say we don't know who's going to shoot the ball, but like Simons wasn't making it. As if Simons was a great offensive player with that defense, like, okay, yeah, we had a winning record. But
Simons takes tough shots, though. Like, we need a guy to bail you out when the shot clock's getting low. I don't know if we have
take tough shots and make tough shots.
I don't know if we have that.
That's
Simons like the last resort. You know what I mean? Like, you get the offense through Denny, you find Kling in the post, and then if the shot clock gets down to like 6 seconds, Simon's just going to ISO and give us a solid look. Like, who's
that's going to be Shaden this year, and it'll be probably pretty inefficient. I'm just saying, I saw that our offense was better when Scoot was on the floor and Simons was not.
Okay, that's interesting.
Per 100 possessions. And I think it's because Scoot I was telling Cole, like, I feel like a good Scoot comp on what we want him to be is kind of like Halliburton, where he's not a huge scorer, but he's like, he controls the pace and gets his teammates involved. He'll probably be hopefully a more athletic, aesthetically pleasing version of Hallie. He probably won't ever have the clutch gene of Hallie, because that was historic what he did this year. But like, again, we talked about the Pacers. Like, it's kind of we don't have our spicy. That's the problem.
Yeah,
we don't have our spicy P. Pascal.
I just want to. We got to bring it up because it's a headline right now. But some person on Twitter that's got 30,000 followers, that's a reporter for some website I've never heard of, said Drew Holiday is pissed to be traded to Portland.
Saw that.
For sources.
I'm going to say that we probably shouldn't take really no stock into that right now. Kawhi Leonard was pissed to go to Toronto and he won him a championship. I'm not saying Drew's going to do that, but I'm saying, like, when players get traded, they get emotional. That's even if this is true, but I'm not going to believe it's true until an actual reporter that I've heard of reports that. And if it is true, then like, I don't think that matters at all.
I mean, if he was pissed, I'm sure he's more pissed about the situation of leaving Boston after all he did for them, less of, I'm going to Portland, because Portland's on the rise. I mean, I feel like, of course we say players don't want to come here, corner of the U.S., very low black population, but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like
Portland was down. Portland was down, but it's moving up. It might have only have been able to go up. I don't know if it could have gone down anymore, but it's going up. And I'm joking in a way, but like, it actually is. It's going up.
Oh, you should have seen those streets in 2022.
Wow. But yeah, I don't think we should take much stock into that until it's reported by a
Drew,
reporter. But then again, it makes sense
wide
to be
open.
mad. Like, going from a team that's projected to win the championship to a team that's fighting for the play-in. Like,
no, that's what I'm saying. They kind of like dealt him dirty. I don't know, kind of, not really. Yeah. But he just got traded.
But he should respect Portland because Portland traded him to where he wanted to go last time. So You got to think he's got a good relation. Remember when we were clowning Joe because he was like, you're just sending people where they want to go to. Like, congratulations, you're a GM that the players like. That doesn't matter at all. But actually, in this one scenario, it probably matters a little bit. I'm sure Drew Holiday walks in the room and respects Joe a little more than other GMs because how Joe treated him when Drew was here for a week.
And Drew's a professional. Like, he's not going to be Kevin Durant.
No.
KD's not a professional.
KD doesn't act like one when he wants to get traded.
You know, speaking of just trades in the NBA, there were two notable trades today, and one tied with the Blazers, not tied
Honestly,
with the Blazers.
both tied with the Blazers because we've got another trade with Boston.
Man.
So it kind of is interesting to see what Zingas's trade value and Drew's trade value compared to. And then, of course, CJ's just going to the black hole of the NBA, Washington.
Dude, you look back on his basketball reference in hindsight, it's going to be Portland, New Orleans, and Washington. Those are three just poor places.
I mean, you got to feel for him. I mean, he's getting the treatment of just the veteran that's going to get you 20 points and probably do absolutely nothing.
The new big three in Washington, Cody.
Tell me.
It's CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, and Marcus Smart.
That is...
Hey, you put that team on the floor in 2021, 2022, 2019 or something? Like, hey, you're cooking a little bit. Jonas Valanciunas in there too? I think the GM thinks he's in the... I'm kidding. It's actually a good move.
JP?
It's a pretty good move for the Wizards because they get off a big contract and they'll just have CJ for a year. The Porzingis one was weird. But that just goes to show, like, Boston needed to get off those contracts. Especially the Tatum injury really just screwed him in a way because it's not worth going over the second apron if you can't win. And having $50 million tied to someone who can't play, like, they just had to get rid of that money. So
that's crazy. I couldn't imagine winning a championship and then getting close and then just like, I mean, they're basically selling for next season.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to tank subtly, not even tank, but just retool heavily around Tatum and maybe Brown in 2027.
And it's interesting, you know, Celtics, they're getting expensive. You know who else is going to get expensive real quick? Thunder. Yep.
Yeah.
That's why they have all these draft picks.
Yeah, they're gonna have to pay everyone, but
they like Hartenstein makes $30 million, so he's a perfect like chip. And it's just like
it's a crazy contract.
They have it figured out. Apparently, the Steve B. Hoop guy, I guess Yahoo Sports respects it because they tweeted about it. Now all the Blazer accounts are saying this is terrible.
Oh no. I actually, like, I don't care that he is unhappy. That, like, you've got 38 million reasons to not be unhappy in 2 years. So,
and did we ever figure out who the longest tenured Blazer is now?
I believe it is Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant, really?
I'm gonna fact check that though.
Our longest tenured Blazer is it? It's not Matisse
or it's Shaden.
Shaden was 22 draft.
No, it's not Shaden.
Jeremy was traded right before the 22 draft.
I think it's going to be JG.
I think it's Jeremy freaking
Shaden Sharp is the Blazers franchise player now.
Yeah, okay, I'm just going to go through the players. It's not Denny. It's not Ayton. It's not Delano Banton. It's not Tumani Kamara.
Is it Chris?
It's not Sissoko. It's not Klingon. I don't even know who Sissoko is. It's not Klingon. It's probably Grant. It's not Scoot. It's not Holiday, McGowan's, Minaya, Chris Murray, Brian Rupert, Duop, Matisse, Jabari?
Possibly.
No, it's Jeremy. Jeremy, Jabari, and Shaden have played 3 seasons, but Jeremy was technically traded to the team before the draft. So it's Jeremy Grant. That's insane.
We want to trade him.
There's only like 3 players on the team that played with Dame, and Dame was on the team 2 years ago. We are just bringing him in and out.
Love him or hate him, he's building the team he wants.
You know, Cole, sometimes I listen to podcast a long time ago. And I was listening to one not too long ago, and it was just like us projecting players in the summer, and you're like, I just don't think Chris Murray is the answer. So what do you think about him after going into this year now, a year later?
What a random thing. I mean, yeah, nothing. I also said Anthony was going to average 28 this past year, so my takes are definitely not 100%. But I was heated because of just how the Dame thing was going down, and we traded we drafted Scoot, and then we were like, but we got this
All right.
24th pick.
Well,
we're
the
gonna get a
reason-
great player, and we got Chris Murray, and it was like, why are you drafting
The
Chris
reason for the random question is I was looking at stuff and just like, I can't believe my eyes. Really, he shot 22% from 3 last season.
Murray? He's so bad. He really is.
22.
He really is.
I was like checking, like that's not a different category I'm looking at. I had to check the column. Like, no, that's 3-point percentage.
You know, I'm not gonna do a victory lap because it's like when a player is obviously not good, and I say, oh, I don't think this guy's gonna be that good. Like, congratulations. I basically said, oh my gosh, Giannis is a good player. I said Chris Murray's a bad player. It's pretty much the same thing. So, not to just go in on Chris, but unfortunately,
I feel like we also said Simon.
Can he have an up yet?
no.
You got to
No.
think he goes above 22 this year, right?
I mean, he shot 26 rookie year, 22 this past year.
Dude, wait, what? I'm just checking
I
his
mean, he's a
stats.
creator. He averages 1 assist a game.
Bro, his free throw percentage last season was 45. That's worse than Mitchell Robinson by almost 10%.
Yeah, but how many free throws did he take? Like 10?
0.8 a game, so probably like 50 on the year.
So a lot.
0.8 a game?
Yeah.
Oh, but he didn't play in every game.
0.8 in 69 games.
Just
So,
looking
like,
at our.
he-
Who
so
do
he-
you?
Probably 50, something
That's
like
still
that.
terrible, bro. You're shooting like 23 of 50 from the line.
Do you think anyone makes a significant jump this year at the end of our roster? The Chris Murrays, the Duops, the Walkers. Like, do you think any of them could potentially find their way to sniff like
Not
15
Chris
to 20
Murray,
minutes a
not
game?
D-Wop, not Jabari
All right,
Walker.
right now, we're gonna June 24th, day before the draft. Stake your
boy.
claim. Stake your claim. Is Drew Holiday on the opening day roster?
Yeah.
Dude, I think he is, and I don't like that. I hope he's not, but I think he is.
I'm
He
gonna say no.
is,
I'm gonna say he's
and
not. I'm gonna say he's not.
that's interesting.
Say
I'll say
right
he is,
now.
though.
All right. Well,
But that's all we got, guys. Again, draft tomorrow night within 24 hours of right now. So make sure to follow our Instagram and Twitter for some draft updates. We'll probably do a pod recapping the draft if anything significant happens, or just recapping it just even if we just make a pick and that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, 5 stars on Spotify. See you guys next time. Peace.